let's film this. That's good. Sometimes in the rainy season, debris comes into the pool back there that feeds this, you know? That's why I dumped out the bottle before. That's looking good. I guess that's okay. A little bit of debris today, but not too bad. Cheers. Ooh-sha. But that was a quiet water gathering. I thought I'd just do that today. Can listen to the birds and the insects and all that. Beautiful. Oh, I forgot something. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. Yes. But the one thing, it's a bit of a difficult thing to bring up in a way. Hang on a sec here. Stretch this out a bit. I find it a little bit difficult because it's tricky not to word it like, well, I do this, so therefore you should do that. Right? I walk to get my water. You should walk to get your water too. That just doesn't work, right? You just can't do that. And when I do these water walks, I don't mean that at all. Probably at some level, that's creeping in, right? Because, I am human, and there's always a certain kind of, what's the word? I don't know, maybe like righteousness, I don't know, that sort of thing creeps in, I think probably no matter what, but I think that for the most part I don't, I mean at some level I'm glad I'm the only one that comes here to get the water because it's a time of peace for me. If there were like lineups of 30 people, anyway, now I'm really going over an edge because no one's doing that. Anyway, yeah, so but the thing that I do think about a lot is resilience and comfort, and one thing that's become a habit for me is to not get too comfortable. And I've talked about this before on walks and things, it's rooted in some rationality, but it's probably also rooted in some things that are not completely rational, right? So, in Canada I spent a lot of time really with no fixed home, so I was traveling a lot, camping a lot, like living in tents a lot, but not all the time, and helping out at friends' ranches, and it's quite a varied existence, and but it was rarely completely comfortable, and never really I couldn't rely on what was going to come in the future for an extended length of time. And I still feel this way, right? So those were a lot of years. Those were like 14 years, not including the time here. And so I'm continuing that mode of thinking here, right? It became a way of being, I suppose. Like there was no, oh, in 20 years, I'll have this and blah, 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 right? Could never be part of the issue, right? Because it was more like, okay, I think I'm set for this week or this month. Okay, that's good. I can kind of relax a bit, ease off a bit, you know? And that was a nice feeling, right? But I could never really let it go completely because things would change often, and sometimes things would change from my own volition, right? To say, okay, now I'm going to do this. And at other times, things just were not of my volition. Like I would have chosen to stay but the situation would have changed, and then I sort of had to move on. And that wasn't constant, but it happened a number of times, enough to make me think, okay, have to be flexible. It's all good, one thing leads to another. I don't want to say there's a reason for everything, because I don't know if that's true, but there's times when if I hadn't have been pushed out that way, this wouldn't have happened. And this thing that happened was amazing, right? So, like, I wouldn't have probably approached my my long rides in the same way if something else hadn't have happened, right? That wasn't really my own planning. At least to a degree. Like, who can say for certain how much things are affected from the outside and the inside, right? It's quite variable, and probably never, well, I shouldn't say that. Probably often it's not just from one angle, right? Anyway, yeah. But so there's this element of not wanting to get too comfortable, right? So where I am now, I've been here for 5.5 years, right? Which is maybe longer than I've lived anywhere for an awfully long time. But the place itself, the house, isn't like some luxurious home. It's, I sleep on a mat on the floor. It's totally comfortable for me because I've been sleeping that way since like 2001, right? Or 2002, I guess, really. Anyway, and also that's not including all the camping I've done through my whole life, right? So all that's very not fine for me. And anyway, so it's for me it's perfect. And every day I try to think, okay, I love being here. It's perfect for me. It's a perfect combination of not too comfortable, but comfortable enough, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's comfortable enough that I can make guitars. I can set up a little workshop and make guitars, right? Like that, you can't do, I shouldn't say can't, but making guitars and living in tents on the prairies, that has its challenges. Mind you, I made other instruments like that, like the kores and even the shamisen to a degree. Shamisen, you do need a shop, but the kores for sure, I've made a number of kores just sitting out on the prairie, It's nice to be in a shop, don't get me wrong. It's nice to have like beautiful tools and stuff, but certain things you can do a bit rougher. Oh, this is the fig tree. Oh yeah. Let's see now, can you see up there? There's figs up there. Let's see if we can grab one. Hang on a sec. Okay, I knocked 4 down, but I could only find 5. So I knocked 5 down, but I could only find 4. But here are the wild figs, eh? They're quite large and quite tasty. Not super sweet, but they're, they are wild. So usually wild stuff's not as sweet. Anyway, quite tasty. I think. Anyway, oops, I kind of shut that off. Yeah. Anyway, so we got 4 figs. Maybe I'll have those tonight for dessert with some honey on it. I have a few bottles of that mountain honey that they people climb up trees and stuff and gather it. It's quite amazing. It's like, nope, not for me, thanks. I like being on the ground, eh? Anyway, yeah, so it's things like comfort and stuff I was talking about, I guess. And I want to say, but I'm hesitant because I just don't know about the whole giving advice thing, you know. But I guess the best way to go about this is just to say how I do it for myself, right? And how everyone does it for their own selves is their own business, and everyone has their own way through life, eh? And I totally respect that, you know. But anyway, for myself, partly, like I was saying, the way I've been living for a long time, and partly my own thinking, and part of that is desire, right? Like this feeling like, if I could sort of slip myself back to the, say, the middle or upper Paleolithic or whenever, but non-Neolithic eras, I'd be like, okay, ciao, see you later. Won't be any videos for a while. Well, I won't be doing another video for another 30,000 years. Anyway, I would do that, right? Because I sort of, I don't know. Anyway, that's tricky stuff, eh? But, so anyway, there's that element that always creeps in for me, right? But yeah, so anyway, so for myself, I think, being resilient and comfortable with not being comfortable. Do you know what I mean? At ease with discomfort. Because the thing is that what someone might consider discomfort now, when you're actually in it and accustomed to it, it's not discomfort at all, actually. You know, I think. So part of it is getting used to it. And I've said and experienced a million times where I've shifted from a rougher life into something that's much more comfortable, and how difficult it is to go the other way, right? So there's that time when a big storm was coming up in the first year of my long ride, and I went to the Devines, Grant Devine used to be the Premier of Saskatchewan, and his wonderful wife Chantal, and they put me up, and I was camped out and got flooded out and everything, and so Chantal said, hey, why don't you stay in our guest house? And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But then I was like, like a big 3 or 4 day storm with giant winds in Saskatchewan make you go, yeah, okay, I'll do that. I know coming out of it, it's gonna be like, but I don't want to go. I don't want to do my long ride anymore. I like being in this really safe place, right? And anyway, but I continued, and there's that half a day really, of like, oh, this is so difficult, tiring, loading up horses, dealing with horses, walking, riding. Oh, camping, finding water. But by the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I love this so much. Got in my tent, lying down, like lying down in the grass and watching the sunset, making my dinner. Oh my God, it was so beautiful, so simple, right? My goodness. Yeah, and then some days I would like hit a little town or something and would buy a bottle of wine, and then I'd dump the bottle into like one of those plastic water bag things, and then I'd have a glass of wine for a few days. And, oh, that was so nice. That was so great. Do you know what I mean? So there's something about the withdrawal of something, and then you bring it back in. It's like, oh. Anyway, that's just, you know, human nature and all that. It's really fascinating and interesting. And anyway, so that's my thing, right? And part of that, the reason I'm talking about it is because I was thinking about, like right now there's this COVID thing going on, right? And a lot of panic and a lot of, I mean, it's real. I'm not saying it's not real, but there's a lot of weird stuff and panic and control and willingness to be controlled. You know, it's truly fascinating, actually. But there's other things going on, right? Like right now, there's a massive heat. There's actually an article I need to read. I should really read it before I start talking about it here, but I'll just say there's a big heat wave going on in the Arctic, right? So, and then there's a bunch of people, including myself, that have been watching what's going on with the COVID because of the reduction of pollutants, I guess, aerosol. Well, aerosol masking effect, right? Wondering, well, it's not across the board and it's not everywhere in the world, right? But wondering what kind of effect that is, right? So my observation here is that, wow, this feels hotter than usual before mid to end of May, right? Like when I go to bed, it's like, wow, I'm sweating a little. That's weird, right, for up here. But I don't know. I'd say it's a few degrees warmer than normal, but when you just live somewhere for 5.5 years, what's normal, right? But you know, I know from my friend Gung and stuff that it's definitely warmer now. But anyway, but the thing with the aerosol masking effect is that issue is with the reduction in the aerosol um, blocking stuff, and you take that aerosol away, that actually cools. But we're thinking, how much will the temperature bump up, right? And those aerosols drop pretty quickly. Anyway, it's super fascinating. So we'll see what's happening. So to me, there's cascading things happening, right? So that we can't know now. Right now, it feels like, oh, things are letting up with the COVID. So that's cool. We'll see how it's going. To Thailand's doing okay. They're doing this tracking app. I'm like, really, Thailand's actually doing really well. I don't think, anyway, I won't get into a control government thing here, but anyway, but the thing is that I can't help but have this feeling that this is not over. There's other things spinning around it, right? So right now we're focused on COVID, but there's other things going on all the time, right? Whether it's climate, because things are so interlinked, I think, you know, and who can say, right? Can't know, but we'll know down the road. We might even know faster than usual. We might know by the end of this year that things might be shifting in a certain direction, right? So, but we'll see. But get out in the sun. Always my advice. Try to get comfortable with not being comfortable. That's what I think. But do what you want. If you want to stay inside and not get any vitamin D, that's entirely up to you, right? But it seems that vitamin D is actually an excellent way to stay healthy, which I've known forever, right? I think. So get out in the sun, get in some nature if you can, and think for yourselves, I guess, and all that. Anyway, but I hope everyone's doing great, and Ala Proshan, which I always love to say, means until the next time, and ciao, and oh, I should say Lao Takun, up to you, and see you on the flip side, whenever that is. Okay, ciao.